The Great Depression left millions of Americans scrambling to survive in cities and towns that had suddenly turned hostile. Jobs vanished, savings evaporated, and hunger became a daily threat. Yet amidst the despair, a subculture of resourceful wanderers, often called hobos, developed an intricate set of survival techniques that turned urban wastelands into sources of sustenance and shelter. They were experts at finding food where others saw trash, crafting makeshift shelters and navigating city life without money or safety nets. These strategies weren't about crime or luck, they were about observation, ingenuity and adaptability. Today, many of these hobo hacks are forgotten, but they hold timeless lessons for anyone interested in urban survival, preparedness, or simply understanding how people endure in extreme conditions. In this guide, we'll explore the art of Depression-era scavenging, showing you how these methods worked and how they can be applied in modern urban survival scenarios. Hobos learned to read the city like a map to resources. Survival during the Depression required more than luck. It required knowledge of your environment. Hobos became masters of reading signs, identifying which neighborhoods might offer free food and locating hidden shelters. Empty buildings, abandoned lots, and even certain factory yards became temporary homes or workspaces. Observing patterns, such as when markets discarded unsold produce or when bakeries cleaned their ovens, allowed them to anticipate opportunities without breaking the law. For modern urban survivalists, this principle is still valuable. Learning to read your environment, spotting resources, safe routes and potential hazards can make a huge difference when navigating cities under duress. Familiarity with waste streams, food outlets and public spaces can transform ordinary urban areas into sources of sustenance when traditional options fail. Scavenging wasn't random, it followed a system. Hobos didn't simply grab whatever they could find. They had a hierarchy of priorities. First, nutrition. Second, tools or materials that could be reused, and third, items for trade or barter. Cans, scraps of metal, cardboard and wood were carefully collected and stored for practical uses, such as starting fires, constructing shelters, or even bartering for meals. Today, the same mindset can be applied to modern prepping or minimalist living. Understanding that urban waste contains usable resources, empty containers, discarded packaging, or scrap materials allows you to create survival tools or even stockpile emergency supplies. It's not about hoarding, it's about recognizing potential in overlooked materials, just as Depression-era scavengers did. Food acquisition required creativity and observation. One of the most essential skills hobos developed was finding food without money. They learned to collect discarded vegetables, fruit peels, or day-old bread from markets. They also mastered the art of dumpster diving before it was called that, retrieving items that were perfectly edible but considered unsellable. Restaurants, bakeries and grocery stores became predictable sources if approached thoughtfully and respectfully. In a modern context, this teaches valuable survival skills. While urban scavenging requires adherence to local laws, understanding where and when food waste occurs can help stretch resources in emergencies. Learning to identify edible plants in city parks, community gardens, or unused green spaces can also supplement supplies, echoing the resourcefulness of Depression-era survivors. Shelter was improvised but strategic. Hobos didn't sleep in the streets if they could help it. They crafted temporary shelters from abandoned buildings, train cars, or even simple tents made from tarps and discarded fabrics. The key was discretion, warmth, and protection from the elements. They often recycled materials like cardboard, old newspapers, or scrap wood to insulate their sleeping spaces, demonstrating ingenuity in resource-limited environments. For modern urban survivalists, similar principles apply. Knowing how to create a safe, insulated shelter from everyday materials can protect against exposure or emergencies. Whether using a tarp, blanket, or temporary indoor space, the goal is to maintain warmth, concealment, and comfort while remaining mobile. Bartering and social networks were vital tools for survival. Survival wasn't just about scavenging, it was also about relationships. Hobos built informal networks to share information about food sources, shelter, and transportation. Skills like carpentry, cooking, or repair could be traded for meals or safe places to stay. These social hacks extended survival beyond individual effort. They created community-based resilience. Modern preparedness strategies can benefit from this lesson. Building networks with neighbours, local vendors, or community organisations strengthens access to resources during emergencies. Developing skills that can be exchanged, basic repairs, first aid, or food preparation, can serve as currency when money is scarce or unavailable. Safety and awareness were constant priorities. Life on the move in Depression-era cities was dangerous. Hobos had to navigate law enforcement, hostile residents, and unsafe structures. They developed techniques for observing patterns, avoiding conflict, and moving cautiously. This acute situational awareness increased survival odds and minimized risk. Today, urban survival enthusiasts can apply similar tactics. Awareness of your surroundings, knowledge of safe routes, and recognition of potential hazards remain critical when resources are limited or in emergency scenarios. The principle is timeless. Survival depends on preparation, observation, and adaptability. The hobo hacks of the Great Depression may belong to history, but their lessons in observation, resourcefulness, and ingenuity are still relevant today. From finding food to crafting shelter and building survival networks, these techniques show that resilience often comes down to skill, awareness, and creativity. If you found value in exploring these forgotten survival strategies, subscribe to Backyard Wisdom and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts and urban survivalists. The lessons of the past still have the power to guide us through modern challenges, and sometimes, through the toughest streets and tightest spots, history becomes your best teacher.